Hi class, in this video I want to give you a quick tour of our Slack website. As I've said elsewhere, this is going to be our primary location for communication throughout the course. It's a great way to get in touch with me, to get in touch with your fellow classmates, to talk about things related to the class, and even occasionally to have conversations not related to the class if you want to. So let's just dive in and look at the structure of it first. So when you first enter our Slack site, which is again enc3213 fall2017.slack.com, this is what it's going to look like. You'll probably arrive on the announcements page. Communication in Slack is really broken up primarily according to different channels. Most of the channels that we're going to be using in the course are public, but this just means that they're available to anyone who's a part of our Slack site. They're not going to be public as in available to anyone who's not part of our Slack site. And we have 5 main channels to start with. We might add some during the semester as we find other conversations we need to have, but for now we're going to have 5. The 5 that we start with are announcements. This is where I'm going to be making my primary announcements about the course when you have something due, reminders of work to do, extra readings or other opportunities, basically anything that would normally go in announcements. We also have an introductions channel, and I'll be asking you to post here during the first week of the course just to introduce yourself to the other students in the class and to me. This is the off-topic channel, and this is basically a channel for any conversations you want to have that don't directly relate to the class. Obviously, you still need to keep it appropriate for an educational environment here, and I expect that you all will, but I've also had some students who've, recruited each other for gaming guilds on here, or for different on-campus groups, or any number of different things. Things that, are good uses of a channel and good uses of a way to communicate with some of your peers. Our next channel is the questions channel, and this is basically just a channel for asking questions about the class. So I'd ask you to post here first if you have any questions that might be relevant to other students in the class. Things like, when is something due? Can you give me some more clarification on this? Anything that you have that is about the class in general. I mean, if it's a specific question just about you, like why did I get a B+ instead of an A- on the last quiz, that's something you should probably just send to me directly. Let's look at the final channel before we move on to direct messages. But the last channel is actually not showing up here, and this might actually happen to you sometimes. You might hear me talking about a channel and not see it on there. So it's a good idea to go ahead and check all of the channels. In order to do that, you just click on this word that says channels up here, and it says browse all channels. And in here you can see all of the different channels that are available. So it'll list all the channels you belong to, and also the public channels that you do not belong to. So the final channel that we need to look at is the videos channel. So I'm going to be making videos like this throughout the semester, and I figured that this would be a good place just to put them all. I'm also going to be posting them on Blackboard so you can find them there, but I'd like to try and make sure they're available to you in multiple locations so you can always find them if you are looking in one place. So we have all of these public channels. We're also going to have private channels. Private channels are used when you want to have smaller groups or things where the communication isn't always visible to everyone on Slack. So starting in the 3rd week of the semester, I am going to be putting you in teams to have discussions and work on things. And at that point, you'll be assigned a private Slack channel. Those, instead of having the hashtag out front, have a little lock on them. And you'll only have one of those on your own view. We also have on our Slack direct messages. These can be really useful if you need to talk to one person individually, or even just a couple people, but not to an entire channel. So I often use these just for communicating individually with students one-on-one throughout the semester. So you can go in here and you can send me a message just by clicking on my name over here and then saying something to me. You can also go into direct messages here, and you can start conversations that are going to involve multiple different people. So you could add a few different people and then have a conversation. Direct messages can be useful for a lot of things, but again, if you have something that's germane to the general conversation, I'd suggest not adding them to the direct messages. Aside from that, let me show you quickly how you write things in Slack. So the primary way of writing things is just going down to this this text box down here and just writing down there. So you might write something as the start of your introduction, and then you can just post it right there. One of the nice things about Slack is it does always show you if something has been posted in a channel. So if we go back to the other account, you can see now that introductions is bolded here. That means that there are new messages in that channel that you haven't read. So if you click on that, it'll show you the new messages there, and they'll always show them underneath this red line so that you can see where those messages start. You can also directly write to somebody on these, mention them directly if you want to, and that will basically ping them a little bit. So let's say I want to get in touch with this account. If you just do @ and then find the name of the person, you can go ahead and send a message directly to them on the public channel as well. So if we go back to the other account, you can now see that this channel has a red 1 next to it. Whenever those red numbers are there, it means that someone has mentioned you directly and wants to get your attention. So that's another good way to get people's attention and to say things to them. On these channels, like I said, the primary way of talking will just be entering things in here. You can also do a few other things. You can post Google Docs files, you can create posts which are for longer pieces of information, you can upload files, we can add additional apps that do other things. I currently have DoBot added on here, which is used for scheduling, but we can add other things. You can post GIFs on here, you can post emojis on here, you can react to things that other people have said. So let's say that I want to react to this introduction. I could go ahead and give a thumbs up, or you can also start a thread so you can respond to it. And create a little bit of a threaded reply chain here. So there's a lot of different options on things that you can do on Slack. It should be all relatively familiar to you because it is built on other messaging systems, but do take a little bit of time, familiarize yourself with it, poke around a little bit, try and get a feel for how it works, because we're going to be using it throughout the entire semester and we'll be using it a lot. So I hope that this video gave you a nice quick overview of our Slack site, and I look forward to talking to you on it in the first week.